Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery and watched the stars through the main window. 3 years had passed since they left Earth. Now they were close to their new home in the Kepler 442 system. The planet looked perfect. From space, blue oceans, green land, white clouds, just like Earth, but without the crowded cities. "Captain, we're getting strange readings on long-range sensors," said Lieutenant Bobby Chen from his station. His voice carried worry that made Jake turn around fast. "What kind of readings?" "Energy signatures. Really big ones. Coming from outside our system but moving toward Earth." Jake walked over to Bobby's station and looked at the screen. The numbers made no sense. Whatever was out there used more power than entire human cities. Dr. Lisa Harper came onto the bridge, carrying her data pad. She was the team's expert on alien life. For 3 years, she had hoped to find something. Now her face showed fear instead of excitement. "Captain, I've been studying these signals. They're not natural. Something made them. Something very advanced." Jake felt his stomach drop. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone. Now they might get their answer, and it didn't look good. Back on Earth, Admiral Kevin Phillips sat in Luna Command looking at the same data. The moon base buzzed with activity as officers tried to understand what they were seeing. Earth's defense fleet looked small compared to what was coming. "Sir, we count over 10,000 ships," reported Colonel Maria Santos. "They'll reach our outer colonies in 6 hours." Kevin had fought in 3 wars, but nothing prepared him for this. Earth's entire space fleet had maybe 300 ships. Most were cargo vessels or mining platforms. Only 50 were real warships. "Send word to all colonies. Prepare for possible hostile contact. Get our fleet ready." The first ships appeared near Titan Station 3 hours early. They were massive, dark, and covered in what looked like spikes. Each one was 10 times bigger than Earth's largest battleship. Station Commander Paul Wright tried to send a greeting message. The aliens answered with weapons fire. Titan Station exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Saturn. The attack began everywhere at once. The aliens hit mining stations, cargo ships, and colony worlds without warning. Their weapons cut through human shields like they weren't there. Purple energy beams turned metal into vapor. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks watched from Fortress Alpha, Earth's biggest defense station. He saw human ships die in seconds. The aliens moved in perfect formation, destroying everything in their path. "They're not even trying hard," Ryan said to his partner, Sergeant Julie Kim. "Look at their attack pattern. They expect easy wins." Julie looked at the tactical display. "You're right. They're not adapting. Same formation, same approach every time." On the surface of Mars Colony, Director Carol Johnson got the evacuation order too late. Alien ships filled the sky above New Phoenix City. The colonists ran for the shelters, but the purple beams found them anyway. Carol's last transmission to Earth was simple. "They show no mercy. Warn everyone." The Zephyrian war commander Vex Thule stood in his command ship and watched humans die. His species had conquered 300 worlds. Humans looked no different from the others. Weak, slow, primitive. "How long until this world falls?" he asked his aide. 2 days, War Commander, maybe less. These creatures have no real weapons." Vex Thule nodded. Another easy victory for the Empire. Soon they would strip this system of its resources and move on. The humans would be forgotten like all the others. But something bothered him. Most species surrendered after the first attack. They sent messages begging for mercy. These humans kept fighting even when they had no chance to win. On Earth, Jake Morrison got word that his home planet was under attack. The Discovery was too far away to help, but Jake ordered his ship to turn around anyway. "We'll never make it in time," said his first officer, Lieutenant Amy Stone. "Maybe not, but we're going to try." Dr. Lisa Harper worked with her team to study every piece of data about the aliens. "Captain, I'm seeing patterns in their technology. It's advanced but old, like they haven't changed it in a long time." Jake looked at her findings. You think they're not used to real fights? That's exactly what I think. They've been winning too easily for too long. Admiral Kevin Phillips made Earth's final broadcast to the colonies before the main fleet arrived. To all human ships and stations, we face an enemy that wants to destroy us completely. They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong. The battle for Earth began at dawn. Alien ships darkened the sky over every continent. Their weapons burned cities and turned forests into ash. Billions died in the first hour, but in the underground bunkers and hidden caves, humans survived. They watched their world burn and planned their revenge. The aliens had made one mistake. They thought killing humans would be easy. War Commander Vex Thule received reports from the planet's surface. Most of the large cities were destroyed. The human military was broken, but small groups kept fighting from places his scanners couldn't reach. Why don't they surrender? He asked. His aide had no answer. In 300 conquests, this had never happened before. Ryan Brooks made it to an escape pod before Fortress Alpha exploded. As he fell toward Earth's atmosphere, he sent one. Last message to any humans still alive. This isn't over. Learn everything you can about them. We'll make them pay for what they did today. The message reached resistance fighters hiding in the ruins. They had lost the first battle, but the war was just beginning. Jake Morrison's ship was still days away from Earth when the planet fell. He watched the transmissions stop one by one. His home was gone. His family was probably dead. But Jake wasn't giving up. None of the humans were giving up. The aliens would learn what that meant soon enough. 6 months had passed since the aliens took Earth. The sky above Chicago looked wrong now. Alien ships moved between massive mining platforms that sucked resources from the ground. Where the Willis Tower once stood, a Zephyrian processing plant, turned human cities into raw materials. Captain Elena Rodriguez crawled through the old subway tunnels beneath the ruined city. Behind her, 20 other survivors followed in silence. They had learned to move without sound. The aliens could hear human voices from far away, but their sensors couldn't track movement through the underground tunnels. "Contact ahead," whispered Sergeant Danny Miller from the front of the group. He pointed to his scanner. 3 aliens, maybe 4. Patrol unit. Elena nodded and signaled for her team to stop. They had been planning this attack for weeks. The aliens always sent patrols, through the same route at the same time. They were smart, but not flexible. Former Marine Colonel Steve Johnson waited in the shadows with his rifle ready. 6 months ago, he commanded a battalion of Marines. Now he led a group of teachers, store clerks, and factory workers who had learned to fight or die. The alien patrol came around the corner exactly on time. They wore thick armor and carried weapons that could burn through concrete. But they walked in a straight line and never checked the ceiling above them. Elena dropped from the ventilation shaft and landed behind the last alien. Her knife went through a gap in its armor before it could turn around. Steve and his team hit the others from both sides. The fight lasted 10 seconds. "Strip everything useful," Elena ordered. "Weapons, communications, armor pieces. We have 3 minutes before they're missed." The resistance had learned to take whatever they could from dead aliens. Human weapons barely scratched their armor, but alien weapons worked just fine against alien shields. 200 miles away, Dr. Amy Carter worked in a hidden laboratory carved into a mountain. The facility had been a secret government research center before the invasion. Now it was humanity's best hope for fighting back. Amy studied pieces of alien technology on her workbench. She had been a weapons researcher before the war. Now she was something more important. She was humanity's way to understand their enemies. "The energy shields operate on a specific frequency," she explained to her assistant, former NASA engineer Bill Torres. "It's like a radio signal. If we can match that frequency, we can disrupt their defenses." Bill looked at the captured alien shield generator. "How long to build something that can do that?" "Give me 2 weeks. Maybe less if we can get more parts." Above ground, the aliens continued their mining operations. War Commander Vex Thul had expected Earth to be stripped clean by now. Instead, his forces faced constant attacks from humans who seemed to appear from nowhere. "Report," he demanded from his aide. 17 more patrols lost this week, War Commander. The humans attack our supply lines and communication stations. They avoid direct fights but strike where we're weakest. Vex Thul studied the tactical display. Red marks showed where his forces had been attacked. The pattern made no sense. These humans fought like they knew his every move. How do they coordinate without communications we can detect? Unknown, War Commander. They seem to use the planet's own communication networks. Underground cables, radio signals that bounce off the atmosphere. Methods we haven't seen before. In the Australian outback, General Patricia Hayes commanded the largest resistance network from a bunker complex hidden beneath the desert. She had been Earth's top military strategist before the invasion. Now she was the closest thing humanity had to a supreme commander. "Reports coming in from all continents," said Major Lisa Park, her communications officer. "Chicago Cell hit another patrol. The Tokyo group destroyed an alien transport. London Resistance took out a mining platform." Patricia looked at the global map on her screen. Every day, more resistance cells joined the network. The aliens controlled the surface, but humans owned the underground. "Any word from the other occupied worlds?" "Still trying to make contact. But we're getting strange signals from the Proxima system. Could be other humans fighting back." Patricia nodded. Earth wasn't the only world the aliens had attacked. But maybe it was the first one that fought back this hard. Captain Elena Rodriguez's team had grown from 20 to over 200 fighters. They controlled 15 miles of tunnel systems and had weapons taken from dozens of alien patrols. More importantly, they had something the aliens didn't expect: hope. "New intelligence from Dr. Carter," reported Bobby Walsh, their communications specialist. "She's found a way to disrupt their shields. We'll have working prototypes in 1 week." Elena looked at her fighters. 6 months ago, most of them had never held a weapon. Now they moved like soldiers and thought like warriors. The aliens had tried to break humanity's spirit. Instead, they had forged it into something harder. "Pass the word to all cells. Operation Payback begins next week. Time to show these bastards what humans can do." Dr. Amy Carter finished her first shield disruptor and tested it on a captured alien device. The alien shield flickered and died. For the first time since the invasion, she smiled. "Bill, get this design to every resistance cell on the planet. Then start working on bigger versions. Much bigger." War Commander Vex Thul received a message from the Zephyrian High Command. Other worlds were being conquered on schedule. Only Earth remained a problem. "The High Command wants to know why this planet hasn't been pacified," his aide reported. "They suggest orbital bombardment to end the resistance." Vex Thul considered the option. Bombing the planet from space would kill all the humans, but it would also destroy the resources his empire wanted to harvest. "Tell them we need 2 more months. We'll eliminate the resistance without damaging the mining operations." But deep down, Vex Thul worried. In 300 conquered worlds, no species had ever fought this long or this hard. These humans were different. They didn't break when beaten. They learned and adapted and came back stronger. Colonel Steve Johnson led his fighters through the ruins of downtown Chicago. They moved in small groups, using different routes, never following the same pattern twice. The aliens were learning to expect attacks, but they couldn't predict where or when. "Target is the communication relay on top of the Sears Tower," Steve whispered into his radio. "This one coordinates all alien forces in the Midwest. We take it down. They go blind for 3 hours. Elena's voice came back clear and confident. "Copy that. Teams in position. Dr. Carter's new toys work perfectly. Their shields won't help them this time." The attack began at sunset. Human fighters emerged from sewers, building foundations and subway tunnels. They hit 12 alien positions at the same time, using weapons the aliens had never seen before. Dr. Amy Carter's shield disruptors worked better than anyone hoped. Alien soldiers found their defenses failing just as human bullets reached them. For the first time since the invasion, aliens died faster than humans. General Patricia Hayes watched the reports come in from around the world. In 6 hours, resistance cells had destroyed more alien equipment than in the previous 6 months combined. "Ma'am, we're getting communications from other star systems," reported Major Lisa Park. "Humans on other worlds are asking for help. They want to know how we're doing this." Patricia looked at the tactical display. Earth glowed with the light of burning alien installations. Humanity was no longer just surviving. They were winning. "Send them everything we have. Tactics, technology, communication codes. If humans are fighting elsewhere, they need to know they're not alone." War Commander Vexthul stared at the damage reports in disbelief. In one night, the humans had destroyed more of his infrastructure than in the previous 6 months. Worse, they had done it with weapons that shouldn't exist. How did they adapt our technology so quickly? He demanded. His aide had no answer. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered for 1,000 years, but they had never faced an enemy like this. These humans learned from every defeat and turned their losses into victories. On Earth, the resistance grew stronger every day. The aliens still controlled the sky, but the ground belonged to humanity. And in the hidden laboratories and secret bunkers, human scientists worked on weapons that would change everything. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion, humans believed they could win. 2 years had passed since the Zephyrian Empire conquered Earth. War Commander Vexthul stood in his command center and read reports that made no sense. His forces should have crushed all human resistance months ago. Instead, the fighting grew, worse every day. "The humans destroyed another supply convoy," reported his aide, Sub-Commander Kralvex. "That's the 15th this month. They knew exactly where to strike and when our ships would be most vulnerable." Vexthul studied the tactical display. Red marks showed where humans had attacked his forces. The pattern revealed something that disturbed him. These primitive creatures were learning faster than his own soldiers could adapt. "How many worlds has the Empire conquered?" Vexthul asked. 312, War Commander. Earth will be 313 when we finish here. "How long did the others take to fall?" Kralvex checked his records. The longest resistance lasted 18 days. Most worlds surrendered within hours of our arrival. Vexthul felt something his species rarely experienced: doubt. These humans had been fighting for 2 years without any sign of giving up. Something was very wrong with his understanding of this species. In the mountains of Colorado, Commander Billy Thompson led his Ghost Battalion through a captured alien facility. The building had been a human military base before the invasion. Now it housed alien communications equipment that coordinated attacks across 3 continents. Billy's team moved like shadows through the corridors. They wore armor built from stolen alien technology and carried weapons that Dr. Amy Carter's team had improved beyond their original design. The aliens had given humanity the tools to fight back without knowing it. "Charges are set," whispered Sergeant Kate Murphy through her helmet radio. "This place will be junk in 5 minutes." Billy nodded and signaled for his team to move out. But as they reached the exit, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Alien soldiers poured into the corridors, their weapons charging with purple energy. "Contact!" shouted Private Rick Davis. He opened fire with his modified alien rifle. The weapon's energy beam cut through alien armor like it was made of paper. The Ghost Battalion had trained for this moment. They moved as one unit, using tactics that combined human creativity with alien technology. Every soldier knew their job and trusted their equipment. Billy watched his team work and felt proud. 2 years ago, these people had been farmers, teachers, and shop workers. The aliens had turned them into something far more dangerous: professional soldiers who fought with nothing to lose. Dr. Lisa Harper worked in her new laboratory beneath the ruins of Washington, D.C. She had captured dozens of alien soldiers over the past year and learned things that shocked her. The Zephyrian Empire wasn't as strong as it appeared. Their society is built on constant expansion, she explained to General Patricia Hayes over a secure communication link. They've been conquering other species for so long that they've forgotten how to innovate. Every piece of their technology is thousands of years old. Patricia studied the intelligence reports from her command bunker in Australia. You're saying they don't know how to improve their weapons? Exactly. They rely on numerical superiority and shock tactics. When those don't work, they have no backup plan. We're seeing something they've never experienced before. An enemy that learns and adapts faster than they do. The information changed everything. Humanity wasn't fighting a superior force. They were fighting an ancient empire that had grown weak through easy victories. In orbit above Earth, the Zephyrian fleet faced problems they had never encountered. Human fighters appeared from nowhere using small ships that their sensors could barely detect. The attacks came from all directions and disappeared before the aliens could respond. Captain Chris Sullivan commanded one of these ghost ships from the pilot's seat of a modified human fighter. His vessel combined the best of both technologies. Human engineering made it fast and flexible. Alien power sources made it deadly. Target locked, reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim. Alien cruiser, bearing 270. Their shields are down. Chris smiled and pressed the attack button. 2 years of preparation had led to this moment. The missile that shot from his ship carried a warhead designed by Dr. Amy Carter herself. It would cut through alien armor and destroy everything inside. The Zephyrian cruiser exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the night sky. On the surface below, human fighters cheered as they watched their enemies die. War Commander Vexthul received the news of his ship's destruction with growing anger. How many vessels have we lost this month? 47, War Commander. The humans seem to know our patrol routes and defensive positions. They strike where we're weakest and disappear before we can counterattack. Vexthul looked at his remaining fleet. He had started with 10,000 ships. Now less than 8,000 remained operational. The humans were destroying his forces faster than the Empire could send replacements. What do we know about their technology? Sub-Commander Kralvex pulled up technical reports on his screen. They've somehow improved our own weapons and shields. Their ships are faster than ours. Their soldiers carry equipment we don't recognize. Impossible. These creatures were primitive when we arrived. Nevertheless, War Commander, the evidence is clear. They're out-developing us. Dr. Amy Carter stood in her expanded laboratory complex and looked at her latest creation. The new human battlesuit combined alien shielding with human flexibility. A soldier wearing this armor could fight 10 aliens and win. Field tests are complete, reported her assistant, Engineer Greg Palmer. The Mark 7 suits perform beyond expectations. Our people can now go toe-to-toe with alien soldiers and come out ahead. Amy nodded with satisfaction. 2 years ago, she had been studying captured alien technology just to understand it. Now she was building weapons that surpassed anything the Empire possessed. How many suits can we produce? With our current facilities, about 50 per week. But if we expand to the new factories in the underground cities, we could make 500 per week within 6 months. Amy smiled. The underground cities were humanity's secret weapon. While the aliens controlled the surface, humans had been building massive complexes beneath the Earth. Entire populations lived and worked in places the alien scanners couldn't detect. Captain Elena Rodriguez walked through the tunnels of New Chicago, the underground city built beneath the ruins of the original. 50,000 people lived here now, all working to support the resistance. They had schools, hospitals, factories, and research centers. Everything needed to fight a war. Production reports, she requested from her aide, Lieutenant Bobby Chen. All. Facilities are running at full capacity. We're producing more weapons and equipment than we can distribute. The other underground cities report similar success. Elena looked at the tactical displays in the command center. Green dots showed friendly positions across the globe. There were hundreds of them now, all connected by secure communication networks that the aliens couldn't intercept. Any word from the off-world colonies? Captain Morrison reports the Jupiter mining stations are back online. They're producing rare metals we need for advanced weapons. The Mars colonies are launching supply runs to Earth every week. Elena felt hope growing in her chest. When the invasion began, humanity had seemed doomed. Now they were stronger than ever before. War Commander Vex Thul made a decision that would change everything. He opened a communication channel to the Zephyrian High Command and requested immediate reinforcements. High Command, this is War Commander Vex Thul. I need additional fleets to complete the conquest of the human homeworld. The response came, quickly. Explain why a single primitive world requires more than one battle fleet. Vex Thul hesitated. The truth would make him look weak. But lying would only make things worse. The humans are not primitive, High Command. They've adapted our technology and developed weapons we've never seen. They fight with coordination and tactics that surpass our own. This species is unlike any we've encountered. Silence stretched across the communication channel. Finally, the High Command responded, Impossible. No species has ever resisted the Empire for more than days. You will complete this conquest with existing forces or face replacement. The channel closed, leaving Vex Thul alone with his doubts. The Empire refused to believe what he was seeing. These humans were different from every other species they had conquered. They were something new. Commander Billy Thompson's Ghost Battalion struck again that night. This time they hit the main alien command center in what used to be New York City. The assault lasted 3 hours and resulted in the complete destruction of Zephyrian operations on the East Coast. As Billy's team withdrew through the tunnels, they carried captured alien officers for interrogation. Dr. Lisa Harper would extract every piece of information from these prisoners. Every detail would help humanity win the war. Above ground, alien ships searched frantically for the human attackers, but the Ghost Battalion had already disappeared into the underground cities that honeycombed the earth beneath America's ruins. The aliens controlled the sky, but the ground belonged to humanity, and every day, human technology grew stronger while alien confidence grew weaker. War Commander Vex Thul stared at the tactical display and realized the truth. His empire wasn't conquering Earth. Earth was conquering his. 3 years after the invasion began, humanity launched Operation Retribution. The plan was simple and brutal. Every alien installation on Earth would be destroyed in a single coordinated strike. No warnings, no mercy, just the complete elimination of the Zephyrian occupation force. Admiral Kate Lewis stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, humanity's new flagship. The ship had been built in the hidden shipyards beneath Europa's ice. It combined the best human engineering with captured alien technology, then improved both beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Captain Danny Morris from his position at the tactical station. 57 vessels in the fleet, every one of them carrying weapons the aliens have never encountered. Kate looked at the Earth defense. Force assembled around her flagship. 3 years ago, humanity had been defenseless against alien attack. Now they commanded a fleet that could challenge the Empire itself. Begin the attack. Show them what humans do to invaders. The battle for Earth's liberation began at dawn. Human ships dropped out of hyperspace directly above alien positions. The Zephyrians had expected another guerrilla attack from the surface. Instead, they faced a coordinated assault from space. The UES Vengeance engaged the alien flagship in direct combat. Captain Danny Morris watched his weapons officer, Lieutenant Helen Price, target the enemy vessel's command section. Firing main batteries, Helen reported. The ship's new plasma cannons, designed by Dr. Amy Carter's team, sent streams of energy that tore through alien shields like they weren't there. The alien flagship tried to return fire, but its weapons couldn't penetrate the Vengeance's adaptive shielding. Dr. Nancy Blake's revolutionary design didn't just defend against alien weapons, it absorbed their energy and used it to strengthen itself. "Their shields are down," reported the sensor officer, Ensign Tom Wilson. "The flagship is defenseless." Danny Morris didn't hesitate. "Finish them!" The alien flagship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the sky above Earth. For the first time since the invasion, humans had destroyed a Zephyrian capital ship in open battle. War Commander Vex Thul watched his flagship die from the bridge of his personal cruiser. The destruction shocked him more than the loss of the ship itself. These humans had built a fleet in secret and launched a surprise attack that caught his forces completely off guard. "All ships converge on the human fleet," he ordered. "Destroy them before they can escape." But the humans weren't trying to escape. More ships appeared from hyperspace as the battle continued. Each new vessel carried weapons and defenses that surpassed anything in the Zephyrian arsenal. On the ground, General Elena Rodriguez led the final assault against alien ground forces. Her soldiers wore the new Mark VII battle suits that made them faster and stronger than their enemies. They moved through alien positions like an unstoppable force. "All resistance cells, begin simultaneous attacks," Elena commanded through her helmet radio. "Every alien installation on the planet dies today." Around the world, human fighters emerged from their underground cities and struck at targets they had been watching for years. The aliens found themselves fighting battles on 1,000 fronts at the same time. Sergeant Danny Miller led his squad through the ruins of Chicago toward the Alien Command Center. His team carried weapons that Dr. Amy Carter had personally designed. For this mission, each rifle could punch through alien armor and shields with a single shot. "Movement ahead," reported Private Janet Hayes from her position at point. "Alien patrol, 6 soldiers, full combat gear." Danny smiled behind his helmet's faceplate. "Take them." The fight lasted 15 seconds. Human weapons were simply too advanced for alien defenses to handle. The patrol died without firing a shot. In Sioux space, Admiral Kate Lewis watched alien ships flee the battle as her fleet destroyed them one by one. The famous Zephyrian discipline was breaking down under the pressure of facing an enemy they couldn't defeat. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender signals from 3 alien cruisers," reported Captain Morris. Kate considered the request for mercy. Then she remembered the billions of humans who had died when the aliens attacked Earth without warning. "No. Surrender. No prisoners. Destroy them all." The human fleet continued its methodical destruction of the alien forces. Every ship that had participated in the invasion would be eliminated. The Empire would learn the price of attacking humanity. Dr. Lisa Harper watched the battle from her command post in the underground city beneath Washington, D.C. She had spent 3 years studying alien psychology and culture. Now she was coordinating with resistance movements on other worlds that the Empire had conquered. "We're receiving communications from 12 different star systems," reported her assistant, Major Roger Hall. "Conquered species everywhere are rising up against their Zephyrian occupiers. They see what humans are doing and want to join the fight." Lisa felt satisfaction deep in her chest. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled through fear and superior technology. But humanity had proven that both could be overcome with determination and innovation. "Send them everything we have. Tactical manuals, weapon designs, communication codes. If they want to fight, we'll give them the tools to win." War Commander Vexathul realized his situation was hopeless. Half his fleet was destroyed, and the other half was retreating in panic. The humans had achieved in one day what no species had managed in 1,000 years. They had defeated a Zephyrian battle fleet in open combat. "War Commander, the High Command is demanding a report," said Sub-Commander Kralvex. His voice carried the fear that all Zephyrians now felt when facing human forces. "Tell them the truth," Vexthul replied. "Tell them we've lost." The message that reached Zephyrian High Command sent shockwaves through the Empire. For the first time in their history, a conquest had failed completely. Worse, The species they had tried to conquer was now attacking their forces throughout the galaxy. Emperor Zalthek himself reviewed the reports from Earth. The primitive humans his war commanders had promised to eliminate in days had become a threat to the Empire itself. How is this possible? He demanded from his advisors. Unknown, my Emperor. These humans seem to learn and adapt faster than any species we've encountered. They've taken our technology and improved it beyond our ability to counter. Emperor Zalthek made a decision that would change galactic history. Mobilize the entire Imperial fleet. These humans must be destroyed before they can spread their resistance to other worlds. But the Emperor's order came too late. Human technology had already reached a dozen different species. Rebellion was spreading across the galaxy faster than the Empire could respond. Captain Jake Morrison finally returned to Earth aboard the UES Discovery. He had spent 3 years traveling through space, gathering intelligence on Zephyrian positions and making contact with other human colonies. Now he brought reinforcements and supplies for the final phase of the war. "Welcome home, Captain," greeted Admiral Kate Lewis as Jake's ship docked with the Vengeance. "Ready to take the fight to their home systems?" Jake looked at the tactical displays showing human fleets preparing for deep space operations. 3 years ago, he had fled Earth as it burned under alien attack. Now humanity was preparing to carry the war to the enemy's doorstep. "More than ready, Admiral. Let's finish what they started." The liberation of Earth was complete, but the war was far from over. Human fleets prepared to jump to hyperspace and hunt down every Zephyrian ship in the galaxy. The Empire that had ruled through terror would learn what terror really meant. Commander Billy Thompson stood in the ruins of the Alien Command Center in New York City. His Ghost Battalion had taken the facility in less than an hour. Around him, human soldiers searched, through alien equipment and intelligence files. "Sir, we found their communication logs," reported Sergeant Kate Murphy. "Complete records of every world they've conquered, every species they've enslaved, every resource they've stolen." Billy looked at the data streaming across the captured. "Displays, hundreds of worlds, billions of sentient beings, all enslaved or destroyed by the Zephyrian Empire. Copy everything, send it to Dr. Harper's intelligence team. We're going to liberate every world on this list." The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. But their empire was built on the assumption that no conquered species would ever fight back effectively. They had never faced an enemy like humanity. Now they would learn what happened when they attacked a species that refused to surrender, refused to break, and refused to forgive. The tables had turned completely. The hunters had become the hunted. The human fleet assembled at the edge of the solar system looked nothing like the desperate defense force that had tried to protect Earth 3 years earlier. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution and counted over 200 warships ready for the final assault on the Zephyrian home system. "All ships report ready for hyperspace jump," announced Captain Roger Hall from his position at the navigation station. "Estimated travel time to Zephyria Prime is 6 hours. Jake looked at the tactical display showing the largest human military force ever assembled. Every ship carried weapons that had been tested in battle against alien forces. Every crew member had fought in the liberation of Earth and knew exactly what they were fighting for. "Begin the jump. It's time to end this." Va! The fleet disappeared into hyperspace, leaving behind a solar system that was finally free of alien occupation. But the war wouldn't be over until the Zephyrian Empire paid the full price for attacking humanity. Captain Danny Morris commanded the Deep Strike Force aboard the UES Hammer. His mission was simple, but deadly. Find and destroy every Zephyrian military installation between Earth and their home system. Leave nothing that could threaten human worlds ever again. "First target coming up," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Susan Wright. "Alien supply depot in the Vega system. Looks like they're trying to organize a counterattack." Danny studied the sensor readings. 3 dozen alien ships guarded a massive space station filled with weapons and supplies. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a tough fight for his small force, but these weren't normal circumstances. Human technology had advanced beyond anything the aliens could match. All ships, attack formation, show them what happens when they threaten human space. The battle lasted 20 minutes. The alien station and its entire escort fleet were reduced to glowing debris. Not a single human ship took serious damage. Dr. Lisa Harper coordinated the liberation of conquered worlds from her command ship, the UES Liberation. She had spent years studying alien psychology and now used that knowledge to help dozens of species break free from Zephyrian control. "The Rigel colonies are reporting successful uprising," announced Major Helen Price from the communications station. "They've destroyed all alien forces in their system and established contact with nearby human fleets." Lisa looked at the galactic map on her main screen. Green indicators showed liberated systems, while red marks revealed remaining Zephyrian strongholds. Every day, more green appeared as conquered species joined the rebellion. "Any word from the Centauri rebellion?" "They've captured the main alien base and freed over 10 million enslaved beings. The local species are asking for human advisors to help organize their new government." Lisa felt deep satisfaction. The Zephyrian Empire had controlled the galaxy through fear and superior weapons, but they had never learned to earn loyalty from the species they conquered. Now that weakness was destroying them. War Commander Vexthul stood in the Emperor's throne room on Zephyria Prime and tried to explain how badly the war had gone. Around him, the greatest military leaders of the Empire listened in shocked silence. "The humans have liberated 47 systems in the past month," Vexthul reported. "Their technology is now superior to ours in every category. Their ships are faster, their weapons more powerful, their shields impenetrable." Emperor Zalthek sat on his ancient throne and felt something his species had never experienced before. True fear. The empire that had ruled for 1,000 years was collapsing under assault from creatures they had dismissed as primitive. "How many ships do we have left?" "Less than 3,000, my emperor, and most of those are trapped in defensive positions around our core worlds." The emperor looked at his military advisors. For generations, they had promised easy victories and quick conquests. Now they offered nothing but excuses and defeat. "Prepare the home fleet for final battle. If we must fall, we'll take as many humans with us as possible." But deep in his mind, Emperor Zalthek knew the truth. The empire was finished. These humans had done something no other species had managed. They had beaten the Zephyrians at their own game and proven that the empire's power was just an illusion. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian home system and found exactly what they expected. The remaining alien fleet waited in defensive formation around their homeworld, ready for the final battle. Admiral Jake Morrison studied the enemy positions from the bridge of the Retribution. 2,000 alien ships protected Zephyria Prime. It would be the largest space battle in galactic history. "All ships, battle formation," Jake commanded. "Remember what they did to Earth. Remember the billions they murdered. Today we finish what they started." The human fleet advanced toward the alien defensive line with weapons charged and shields raised. But this wasn't the desperate fight that Earth's defenders had faced 3 years ago. This was a professional military force with superior technology and perfect coordination. Captain Elena Rodriguez led the ground assault force from the command ship UES Justice. Her mission was to capture the Zephyrian leadership alive and bring them before a galactic war crimes tribunal. The galaxy would see justice done. "Landing zones secured," reported Colonel Steve Johnson from the surface of Zephyria Prime. "Alien. Ground forces are retreating toward the capital city. They're not putting up much resistance." Elena smiled grimly. After 3 years of fighting human soldiers, the aliens had learned to fear ground combat. Their morale was broken before the battle even began. "Proceed to the capital. I want Emperor Zalthek in custody before sunset." The space battle above Zephyria Prime lasted 6 hours and ended in complete human victory. the legendary Zephyrian fleet was destroyed so thoroughly that wreckage would orbit their homeworld for centuries as a reminder of their defeat. Admiral Jake Morrison accepted the surrender of War Commander Vexthul aboard the Retribution. The alien leader who had once commanded the invasion of Earth now stood in shackles before the species he had tried to exterminate. "Do you understand what you've done?" Jake asked through the translation device. Vexthul looked up with eyes that held genuine confusion. "We conquered as we always have, as the Empire has done for 1,000 years. "That's your mistake," Jake replied. "You never learned the difference between conquest and genocide. Now your empire is finished, and your species will answer for every crime you've committed." Dr. Amy Carter stood in the ruins of the Zephyrian Weapons Research Facility and felt amazed by what she found. The aliens had possessed advanced technology, but they hadn't improved it in centuries. Their weapons and ships were exactly the same as they had been when the Empire began. "No innovation," she explained to her research team. "No adaptation, no creativity. They took existing technology and mass-produced it, but they never made it better." Engineer Greg Palmer looked at the alien manufacturing systems. "How did they conquer so many worlds with outdated equipment?" "Simple," Amy replied. "They attacked species that were even more primitive than they were. But when they met humans, they found a species that could learn and adapt faster than they could. We turned their own advantages against them." Judge Rachel Stone presided over the Galactic Justice Court from its new headquarters on liberated Proxima Prime. The courtroom was filled with representatives from dozens of species that had suffered under Zephyrian rule. Today, they would see justice done. Emperor Zalthek stood in the defendant's box and listened as the charges were read. Genocide, slavery, destruction of entire civilizations. The list went on for hours. "How do you plead to these charges?" Judge Stone asked. Emperor Zalthek looked around the courtroom at all the species his empire had oppressed. For the first time in his life, he understood what they had suffered. "Guilty," he said quietly, "to all charges." The trial lasted 3 months and resulted in life sentences for every member of the Zephyrian leadership. But more importantly, it established principles that would govern galactic civilization for generations to come. Captain Elena Rodriguez, now director of the Galactic Liberation Council, stood before the Assembly of Free Worlds and outlined humanity's vision for the future. Representatives from over 300 species listened as she explained the new order. "Any species that chooses conquest over cooperation will face the same fate as the Zephyrian Empire," Elena declared. "The age of galactic tyranny is over. From now on, the strong will protect the weak, not prey upon them." The applause that followed her speech echoed through the chamber for 10 minutes. The galaxy had found new leadership, and that leadership came from the species that had refused to surrender when all hope seemed lost.